All right, so my name's Daniel Maxwell. I'm from Central Cabarrus High School. I graduated 2 years ago from UNC Charlotte. And when I first got this prompt for today, I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about. I was kind of like, man, okay, tell my story, but I've only got 5 minutes to do it. So what am I going to talk about? So I started thinking, and I think in order for you to understand the strength of UNC Charlotte's education, you've got to understand the weakness of education in general. So I'm going to start off a little bit. It's going to kind of sound kind of a negative tone, and then I'll explain to you why I'm starting there. My first 3 years in the college of education, I had 6 internship experiences or clinical experiences. 5 of those were negative, 5 of them. In fact, 3 of those I left, and the last day, the last thing the teacher said to me was, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to get into education?" And just imagine what that feels like. As a teacher who you make this decision to go to college, you think you made the right decision, and then all of a sudden the people who you're looking up to go, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's just the right decision?" And I remember I was going into my junior year and I was thinking, maybe this isn't for me. I've been to 4 high schools at this point. I've had 4 negative experiences. Maybe I don't want to be in education. And it actually was not until the spring of my junior year that I had my first positive interaction at a high school. That was it. It took me that long to have my first positive interaction at a high school with a teacher, and it was the first time I saw an actual student-centered high school in 2.5 years. Since I had been in high school myself, that was the first time I saw one. And through no fault of the university at all, I was about ready to drop education in general until I got to that high school, and that high school kind of showed me, okay, this is what I wanted to be, and these types of places are still out there, and this is what I can be if I put my mind to that. So that brings me to my next point. The strength of UNC Charlotte's education is the people and the connections that you make while you're in there. I remember I go into my student teaching year-long internship, and I get my internship class, and Rex Mandracina is my supervisor. He's also my professor for that course. And I remember sitting there the first day, and I was so overwhelmed because we're just getting smacked with stuff left and right. And in the process of also finishing up my history degree, they're like, "Oh yeah, you've got NTPA, you've got to do all these clinical experiences, you got to be there 1 day a week. This first semester, second semester, you're going to be working on this project, you're going to be making these lesson plans, you're going to be submitting these lesson plans to your CT every single day, they'll sign off on them." And I'm just sitting there feeling like I'm getting hit in the face with all this stuff, and I'm like, how do I manage this? I have no idea how to manage this. And then I remember Rex made one statement in class, and I thought it was weird at first, but he asked this question, and he goes, "How do you eat an elephant?" And I was like, "What? Why are you asking this?" And then I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm trying to think about the answer to this question. I'm like, first of all, why am I worried about eating an elephant? But he answers it, and he goes, "You eat an elephant 1 bite at a time." And he said, "That's how you're going to take this semester." And that stuck with me. That got me through teaching and student teaching. Geez, you don't know how much this stuff means to you till you tell it in front of people. But that's what got me through student teaching, and it was just that one day at a time, one thing at a time, just get through it, get there, and that's what's getting me through education today. Those of y'all that are in education, have been in education, you know it's a daily grind. You go in some days and you're like, "Man, this is the best decision I ever made." You go on other days and you're like, "I can't go another day." All right? But that's what that taught me. It taught me that, okay, I can look at this and I can take it 1 day at a time and I can make it. And then that brings me to my next positive interaction I had with my CT. And I was getting ready for my first day of assuming the full class load, and I remember I was scared to death that day too, and I was just like, "All right, I got my lesson plans ready, I got everything, am I good to go, am I fine, am I good, all right, I got everything." And he comes up and he puts his arm on my shoulder, and this is the first thing that he really did that showed me how much he cared. But he stops me, and he looks me right in the eye, and he says, "Are you ready for this?" And when he said that to me, it took me a minute, and I kind of slowed down, I thought about it, and it wasn't the fact that he was asking the question, but it was what he meant by it. And he was showing me that, hey, you don't have to take this on if you're not ready to take this on. I will take this over for you. If you're not ready for it, you take some time and get ready for it. And he showed me that he cared. And that is the strength of education and the strength of UNC Charlotte education is that we care. UNC Charlotte education cares, teachers care, and that's the hand that UNC Charlotte has to play to if they're going to continue being this strong, strong beacon of hope in a society that, frankly, doesn't value education. And that's the strength of UNC Charlotte and UNC Charlotte teacher ed. Thank y'all.